Hello, everyone. I am Obsolete 2003, and I'm here joined with Augie the Froggy.
Hey,
Yes. And we're kicking off our next segment of our movie discussion, and this time we have a special treat for Super Bowl weekend. We decided to go over a movie titled Buffalo 66. It was the first time that I've seen this movie. Augie the Froggy has seen it a few times now, and it seemed like it was the appropriate movie for one. Yes, it is Super Bowl weekend. Definitely wanted to try and get this out before the Super Bowl. And in addition, tomorrow, Monday, is Valentine's Day, and in a weird way, this is kind of a very fitting for a Super Bowl slash Valentine's Day weekend
yeah,
mashup.
the guys could like the football part of the movie, and the girls could like the romance part of the movie. So
Yeah, it's a
it's a
win-win.
perfect, yeah. Although it's like the most non-football movie there is.
But yeah. So yes, this is our movie discussion of Buffalo 66, and uh, so yes, the Buffalo 66, and I guess I'll let you do the details real quick of the backstory.
Well, it just kind of came to me because this year the Buffalo Bill. I'm a lifelong Buffalo Bills fan over 30 years, and I felt like they had it this year. If they would have another tough loss, I don't want to get too into it, but another tough loss. I felt this could have been the year had they not had another tough loss. And then as a kind of therapy, I decided to kind of watch this movie again. Hadn't seen it in a long while, and decided I need to the misery loves company, I guess. So yeah, but the movie came out. I mean, it's almost a 25-year-old movie. It's a pretty old movie, but like I
Man,
said, I mean, there's not many movies start like that focus on the Buffalo Bills. But this movie came out, yeah, 1998, so about 24 years ago, and it's a very independent movie. I don't know, like would you say like it's pretty hardcore independent movie, hardcore indie film?
I would say so. That's seemed pretty low budget. Not that was like super crappy or anything, but yeah, this seemed pretty indie, I would say.
Yeah, it's like pure indie. Like this is like one of the I don't know one of the very pure indie movie, and it's like it stars Christina Ricci, Mickey Rourke makes a little cameo in there, and so does Angelica Houston. And the main protagonist of this movie is the model, the actor, the musician, the painter, and also movie director, music video director, and all around angry guy, Vincent Gallo. So yeah, so he wrote it, and it's kind of loosely based on his life growing up as a Buffalo Bills fan and stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, Vincent Gallo's a pretty got a pretty artistic career there. But he directed this movie. This was, I think, his first full length movie that he directed, and that was in '98. He would go on to direct the notorious Brown Bunny movie in 2003.
Mhm.
And as of now, I think those are his two only feature movies that he made.
Oh man.
So yeah, and I'm pretty like a lot of this is based on I guess his life growing up as a Buffalo Bills fan. And according to like the IMDb stuff, like the movies where it takes place, like the scene where he goes over, some of it takes place in his actual childhood house. And he was just kind of like you see videos on him. He's a pretty pretentious guy. He's a pretty pretentious arty guy.
Mhm.
But it's kind of funny because like football seems like it's a more not pretentious thing, but he's a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. And
Yeah.
this movie, I mean, it took place in 1998, so a few years after the Buffalo Bills' first loss in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
But like, it's interesting because There's even like I don't know if you remember those old NFL films things where like that guy with the movie theater voice would go over those football like whatever the
Yeah.
ice bowl. And I remember seeing a while back that maybe it's on YouTube. I don't know if it is or not. That's probably where I saw it. But there's an NFL films thing where they did a little segment on the Buffalo Bills,
Mm.
and they actually show Vincent Gallo and his real life mom talking about the Buffalo Bills and stuff.
That's
So it's
funny.
pretty much based on, yeah, like his life. It's pretty much, well, not like not all of it, but it's
Yeah.
inspired by.
Mm. Um, so I guess thanks for the little facts of the movie, and I guess with that we'll kind of segue into kind of a overview of the movie itself. And so yes, Vincent Gallo, he's the I guess the main actor in the movie. He goes by Billy Brown. That's his name in the movie, and it starts off with him getting out of prison, and they don't quite say why or how, but they just basically show him leaving the prison gates, trying to eventually get back into to the city. Um, he gets in the city and he's trying to make a phone call to his mom. He calls her up and he's telling her that uh, he's back in town, right? He's visiting for a little bit, and the way that he was kind of talking to her over the phone, he alludes the fact that he just got out of prison. He said that he was just on a business trip or something like that. So he said that it's a very small window that he has available, so he was gonna try and see her that day or his parents. And um, so in the process of trying to get home, throughout this entire part, he had to go pee. For whatever reason, he couldn't find a bathroom when he left the prison. The one at the bus station was being serviced, so he couldn't go there. He tried going to a restaurant. The restaurant was closed. And in his journey to find the bathroom, he goes to uh
Like a ballet tap dancing type studio or something.
yeah, dance studio. Thank you. And that's where they introduces Christina Ricci, and she's one of the students taking the tap dancing classes. And um, she, I think, is getting ready to leave, or herself was going to the bathroom. At which point, Vincent Gallo, Billy Brown, he he takes her kind of by force, and
Yeah, he's not in the most politically correct way either. He uses some language that's wouldn't fly by too well today, but like
yeah,
it's pretty interesting. It's a quirky little movie. It's years ago when I was first dating my wife. We tried to watch this movie early on in our relationship, and she couldn't stand the character, and we never finished it early on. And then years later, we ended up watching it again. She gave it another try, but his character is not the most
likable.
likable character, and like it's it's pretty interesting. I don't know, it's an interesting little indie movie, and the P thing I can make sense of later on.
Okay.
But yeah, basically he did like it's a weird like he's just this he's lying to his parents for some reason. Like he's a grown man, but he's lying to his parents that he's only going to be in town one day and that his wife is there, but he doesn't want the wife. The parents want to meet the wife. I guess he's going to go visit the parents, but he doesn't want to. Obviously, he doesn't have a wife. He's lying to the parents that he has a wife,
Hmm.
and or the mom. I guess he's talking to the mom on the phone.
Yeah.
So he just says the wife is sick and that he didn't want to bring her, but okay, he guess he will. He starts arguing and yelling at his mom. Okay, you want me to take my sick wife to go visit you? Though I'll wake her up and I'll take her to visit you.
And so yes, I guess he has some money. He has no car and he has no wife. Just got out of prison. He stumbles on Christina Ricci. Yes, he's a very blunt, very brash person, and I think at which point he gets her in like a headlock, and he's just like kind of wrestling her to her car, and he forces her into there. Um, they're getting ready to drive away. He's in the driver's seat, and he's freaking out because it's a stick shift. He can't drive stick shift, and he's making a whole little scene about that. And the he convinces her to drive, and he's like, don't do anything funny, don't leave me, or he gives her some harsh words on like don't cross me basically.
He, I think, says something along the lines that if she does anything wrong, he'll bite off a piece of her cheek and shit it out or something like that. Like he's pretty he's pretty intense. That and then I don't know if you caught his name is Billy, as named after the Buffalo Bills. Bill, like you figure his mom's. Well, I guess we haven't really got to like. I guess we're are we doing the are we doing I guess the rundown of the movie, or are we doing like the overview, or what is going on here? Because
Just an overview right now, just a real quick overview.
okay,
And then we'll get more deeper into it. But yes, Billy Brown, he takes Christina Ricci on this journey where he's basically trying to coerce her to pretend to be his wife so he can take her to meet his parents. And um, they go to said house, they do a whole thing, and he's like, make me look good. He keeps telling her, make me look good, make me sound good. Like, and don't do anything stupid, don't do anything crazy. They go there. It's a little bit of an awkward interaction. um, I'll say some tension, I guess, in the air, but um, it's interesting because yeah, as you're kind of hinting, the mom is just like a super diehard Buffalo Bills fan. She's watching the game. There's a huge, I'll say like a one of those giant cabinets where people would maybe have like their china ware or their china dishes, fine china, and but it's like all Buffalo Bill memorabilia, and it doesn't seem like it's a trip that Vincent Gallo, Billy Brown, it's not a trip he wants to be there, and all the while he since he's gone out of prison, they eventually kind of allude to or they explain why he went to prison and what he I guess it's kind of what's it's a bit of a would you say a revenge role?
yeah. Basically, the nitty gritty of this movie is it's basically he gets out of jail and wants to take revenge
Yeah.
on the person he feels is responsible for him being in jail.
And
And yeah,
but it's yeah, and in the process he goes to the parents and it seems like there's a few times where Christina Ricci maybe and because her name is what Lila,
yeah, Layla, I think.
so there's times where she probably could have gotten away or just kind of like fled or like done whatever, but for all intents and purposes she goes along with everything. She goes along for the ride and um she's just kind of going on this journey and he has this yeah ulterior motive where he hasn't quite told her what he plans on doing for his revenge. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of the movie. For now, at least, we're gonna do spoiler free. We'll go more deeper into it in a moment, where we'll give more details away. But um,
Yeah, so he just yeah, so it's kind of weird. So that's what drew me to the movie at first because like I would have been mm, I don't know. I was pretty young when this movie came out and being a Buffalo Bills fan and around the time I was getting into indie movies. So this movie was kind of like big time on my radar.
mhm.
And yeah, it's just basically a revenge film, but with Buffalo being kind of like the setting, and not only Buffalo being the setting, but the Bills being a prominent thing in the movie, the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, And
And it's
go ahead.
no, I was just saying it was just kind of crazy because it wasn't too far removed from the actual real event that kind of inspired the movie.
Mm-mm. And because yeah, that was kind of the overview. So we'll kind of go a little bit deeper into it right now if you like, so we can get more into the nitty gritty of yes, the revenge and the role of the Buffalo Bills into this movie.
Yeah, so basically this it's kind of insane. Like I don't know, well probably I don't know the younger people wouldn't remember, but it was a pretty big thing back in the day. Um so this is kind of well this one is like strongly based on Super Bowl 25.
Mm-hmm.
Um and the Buffalo Bills are playing the New York Giants and the kicker came down that had a chance to win the Super Bowl if he made the kick, and if he missed the kick, pretty much there'd be no time left on the thing. So this was back on January 27th, 1991, a day after my birthday. So the kicker Scott Norwood ends up missing the kick right, and this would be like I guess the curse. This would kind of start like the curse of the Bills. It would be the first Super Bowl loss of theirs, and they would go on to lose three more, so they would lose four in a row.
Yeah.
But him missing that kick, it was I guess I mean I'm not even from Buffalo, and it was tough. So I can't imagine like the hardcore Buffalonians being and how it took them.
Yeah.
But basically that kick in '91 loosely inspired. I think the guy's name was Ray Finkel in Ace Ventura because in Ace Ventura was also about a kicker who missed, or not all about, but basically the kicker missing the field goal in the Super Bowl, but it was for the Miami Dolphins, and he complained because the laces were up. And this incident too would roughly be big prominent thing in this movie, Buffalo '66, the missing of that field goal in real life, and it would play a big part of this movie. Yeah, and it's just crazy because it's like man, like I remember like I remember that kick, and then I remember the next year like they lost to the Redskins on my birthday,
Oh.
and it's just so much changed. Like the famous broadcaster Chris Berman, he kind of would. I know every year he would say that he would say that he felt that if the kicker would have made that kick, he felt like Buffalo would have won the next Super Bowl. And I don't know, it's just weird. It's just so much things could have been different. I guess obviously if he would have made that kick, how things would have been different. But
Yeah.
it's kind of based on like a real thing that happened. So this movie is kind of using that as a big premise for this movie.
Yes. And with with that being said, with the kick being missed for this Super Bowl, should we go kind of right into it on why he was sent to prison, or should we kind of
Yeah, we can go back into it again and just kind of like last we left off talking about the movie. It's basically he got out of prison, he calls his parents, and he's gonna have dinner with his parents, but then they expect him to bring a wife, and that's the Christina Ricci part that you alluded to, where he kidnaps her to be his wife,
mhm.
and then like you were about to tell, like it's basically I guess the important thing to know about this movie is the entire movie takes place in one day. So I don't know if you picked up on that, but like yeah, all of this that happens in this all this weird ass shit that happens in this movie just happens in one day.
Yes, pretty much the moment he gets out of prison, gets into town, he gets Christina Ricci, and because he has this big revenge plot that he pretty much has this way to go down. And it's gonna go down that night, and he's trying to I guess maybe tie up loose ends at the same time. And
Yeah, well, and you explain why he or who he wants to get the revenge on. That's kind of
yes, because he basically wants to try and track down, and spoiler alert, he wants to try and track down and kill that kicker from the Buffalo Bills. And um the reason why he wants to do that, I guess, kind of again circling back to why he got out of prison was before the Super Bowl, he made uh, a very big bet. It was a bet of what, $10,000?
Yeah, $10,000.
He made a $10,000 bet, which money he did not have, that the Bills are going to win. And his friend was like telling him, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And he's like, "No, no, it's sure. Yeah, it's a sure thing. Don't worry about it." And obviously, yes, as Augie the Froggy mentioned, unfortunately, the Bills lost, and that was very unfortunate for Billy Brown because he was out $10,000, and the loan shark, which was I guess was a played by Mickey Rourke as the bookie, they're having a little sit down, and he's not too happy because it sounds like um, he, Billy Brown wasn't the only person who was short on his debts, but I guess his was probably one of the more bigger ones. So to try and make things even, Mickey Rourke is telling him basically that a close friend of his is getting ready to get locked up and sent to prison, and what Billy Brown needs to do to kind of clean slate his debt is he needs to step forward and confess to said crime. Even though he's completely innocent, he did not commit said crime. They don't say what it was, but nonetheless, he needs to confess, plead guilty, and get uh, basically take the fall. He needs to be the fall guy because if he doesn't, then very bad things are going to happen to him and his family.
Yeah, and he ends up doing 5 years. So yeah, they don't say what it is, but he spends 5 years of his life to pay off that $10,000 debt.
Yes. So he's a little unhappy that he when he gets out, and he's kind of in his logic, he feels that the kicker for the Buffalo Bills, that maybe he took a payout to purposely miss the kick, and that was um the reason for causing the demise of his own life.
Oh, his situation.
Yeah. So
And
the
what's crazy is like the real life kicker for the Buffalo Bills name is Scott Norwood. And this movie doesn't fuck around. Like his name in the movie is Scott Wood. All they took off was the NOR. So in real life, his name was Scott Norwood. And in the movie, the kicker's name that he wants to kill for revenge is Scott Wood. So it's like, I think Vincent Gallo still had some anger there. Like
yeah.
he didn't try changing the name up. There was no like, is he really talking about that guy? It's like, yeah, it's the same team, pretty much the same name and the same situation scenario.
Yeah. Uh, um so yes, then he does his time, and that's when yeah, creates this elaborate, not to say hoax, but throughout the entire 5 years, he he kind of kept in contact with his parents, but he never told them that he got sent away. He kind of created this whole illusion that he was just off on whatever
Yeah,
adventures.
work or something.
Yeah, and he had his
There's
bet.
very few like characters or side characters, but that his friend is played. His friend is called Goon. Goon. He's not the brightest guy in the world. Maybe a little mentally challenged, but his best friend in the movie is some guy that he calls Goon, who wants to be called Rocky now that he's out of prison. And he tells that goon, "Here, you're gonna mail these presents to my family. You're gonna mail these letters," and like he doesn't want his family to know that he's in jail.
Mhm, mhm.
And how would you describe Vincent Gallo's Billy Brown's character? Like he's kind of off himself. Like he's like it's weird. Like the movie is like a weird. It's got a weird like a suspension of disbelief that you got to kind of accept, like how you mentioned with Christina Ricci, like there seemed like there's times when she could have gotten away, but she goes along with things.
Yeah, and
Like it,
because yeah, he's not a smooth talker by no means. He's not like a very intimidating guy in size either. He's pretty. I'll say maybe average height, very slim build. He wouldn't seem physically intimidating, and yeah, he's definitely not the brightest person. Um, very short-sighted, but um, I don't know. Yeah, he's a bit confident with himself, or I would say I want to say arrogant or cocky, but the way he carries himself. But
He's
he's
just all around angry and maybe like I don't know, like not completely with the reality of things.
yeah, I mean, he kind of had a rough childhood too.
Yeah. It's kind of funny in, at times, but yeah, his parents were pretty out there too. The mom seemed disconnected. Well, the dad seemed like he didn't care much for the kid and disconnected with him, but in a comedic way, I guess, but not really a comedic way. And it seemed like because supposedly in the movie he was born on the day Buffalo Bills won a playoff game or something, and she had to miss that game. It was the only game she's ever missed because he was being born, and she kind of resents him for that in some weird, dark, comedic indie way. And the dad is just completely checked out, like he has no interest in him when they go to visit them.
Yeah,
And that
and
was probably one of the most awkward dinner scene in the movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad because yeah, pretty much yeah, he kidnaps Christina Ricci, forces her to the parents' house, and there it's a whole scene because um again he keeps talking to Christina Ricci. It's like make me look good, just do this, and you'll be free after that. I won't do anything. I won't hurt you. Just like um they go there and the parents pretty much immediately fall in love with Christina Ricci. It's like they completely push Billy Brown to the side and kick him to the curb uh
yeah.
and yeah and the mom again being a big Buffalo Bill fan throughout the entire like dinner and the time there she's watching the game the whole time and Christina Ricci to her best part playing the role of what Billy Brown's asking her to do. She's trying to say very nice things about him, and she's trying to create this lie of like, oh yeah, he's very smart. He's the most handsome person I ever met. He so
He's in the CIA or FBI, and like all the ladies love him.
so yeah,
Yeah,
she's really going above and beyond. And while she's trying to give this scenario, the mom's completely checked out because she's watching the Buffalo game on the TV, and they're just not having it. And I want to say she's wearing a skimpy outfit, but I mean, she was coming from dance practice, and I'd say the dad's kind of like maybe oogling her. So
I
like
mean, yeah, I mean, kind of pervy.
yeah, so uh, he's doing that, and all the while the son's there, and Billy Brown, he's not really engaged with them, even though it was his idea to go visit. He's probably just regretting it just by his body language. And um,
Well,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, well, it makes sense in a way that because there was a scene, I don't know before or after, but we know at this point that he wants to get revenge on the kicker, and then his friend Goon, who kind of helps with the narrative because he, like Vincent Gallo's character, is able to talk to Goon, his one friend, on the phone and kind of give us the exposition of the movie where he tells him, "I'm gonna get revenge on Scott. I'm gonna get revenge because I heard he missed a kick on purpose or whatever."
Yeah.
So, and then his friend told him, "Well, then you'll go back in jail," and he's like, "I'm not gonna go back in jail. I'm gonna kill myself if I have to before I go back in there. I would kill myself before I go back." So basically, it lays out in the audience that it's like a suicide mission pretty much. So it makes sense, like him wanting to see the parents of all this. As soon as he gets out, his whole thing is to get revenge. It's like not even like he's gonna plan it. It's like instantly he gets out, he's gonna do the suicide. He's gonna kill the guy that day, and that's it. Like he's willing to just kill himself if he gets caught before he gets caught, if he has to get caught. So it kind of makes sense why he wants to see the parents, even though he don't get along with them, and he wants the parents to believe this and that. So like it
Yeah.
kind of, I guess, makes sense why he wants to make it look good before he kills this guy. And
Yeah, I see that, and but man, it was very awkward, uncomfortable, and I thought it was very interesting with like the camera angles because it would show, I guess, from Christina's Ricci's perspective, where it was the mom and dad on opposite sides, and then um, Billy Brown would be facing Christina Ricci, and with that camera angle, to me, it seemed like Billy Brown was further away from everyone else. Just the table seemed longer. But then when
yeah,
the camera was flipped and it was showing the everyone else but him, it was the parents of Christina Ricci. The table seemed a lot smaller and they were more closer.
yeah, that's pretty badass. I didn't notice that. Well, like it's interesting because they do that too. Like my take on that too. I didn't notice the proximity or the dimensions wise, like on the framing of it. But like even Breaking Bad did something similar like to that in like a dinner scene.
Mm,
Oftentimes when they do that, they leave it to where like the audience is at the table with them. So like it would be framed three people and the missing corner would be framed as if the audience was taking up that last seat at the table.
mm,
So
hmm.
like how you said it would switch from one angle to the other. It'd be like the audience perspective watching the three that are on that side, and then when it switches the other way, it's like yeah, like the audience was on that other part of the table watching. But like you said, it also conveys the distance and like the separation and like the
Yeah.
disconnect between the family.
And but yeah, it could have just been perspective on my part, but to me that it seemed maybe intentional. Where yeah, just um, I don't know if they made the table bigger with the scenes or it's just the way they arranged everything. But to me, it definitely seemed like
Yeah,
it was purposely done.
yeah,
But
and then like the aesthetics of this movie are like I don't know. I love the way this movie looks. It looks vintage, like it looks like that. I mean, it's in the '90s, but has that indie feel to it. Looks like these type movie as well. Like it looks really like I don't know. I love the look of this movie.
yeah,
Like it's just very indie and very like throwback.
it's not a very crisp, very
But
um, big budget production, I guess.
yeah, no special effects or nothing.
Yeah, and but yeah, the parents are pretty much checked out, and the yeah the mom has that resentment just because yes, just because he had to be born on the playoffs. She was um not too happy with him, and they showed because they started talking about like his childhood, and then I think the dad brought up about him having a dog, and and
Yeah,
and
and
yeah,
yeah, it makes reference that the dad possibly killed the dog because the dog kept shitting or pissing in the house, and a little story too that the mom fed him chocolate and she didn't know that he was allergic to chocolate and he had to go to the hospital. And then when he visited him at that time and as an adult, she was offering him chocolate as she didn't remember him being allergic to chocolate.
yeah. So um yeah, they're just in their own world, and he's I guess there's some resentment. He's there, but it's very tense, and think the yeah, that's when Billy Brown steps out to talk to Goon. That's when he's kind of I guess relaying that plan. So the parents are with Christina Ricci by herself, and she's just going along with it. And for whatever reason, she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm pregnant." And it's like what? So
Yeah.
which I guess she felt maybe just the conversation wasn't really going so well, and she just kind of threw that out there just to kind of reel him back in. And but yeah, so that again, the parents are pretty much listening, almost listening to what Christina Ricci had to say with her um, being pregnant. That they just really liked her, and at that point, once I guess when they were getting ready to leave the house, uh, she should have been almost okay to go. But then I guess that's when Billy Brown had his ulterior plans because he was trying to figure out he was trying to track down the kicker for the Bills to so yes he can continue his plan to try and kill him, and that's what leads them to what the bowling alley.
Yeah, before or after they go to the bowling alley, I guess he calls and then he finds out because the kicker Scott Woods in the movie, it turns out that after he missed the kick and whatever retired or whatever, he ended up opening a strip club in Buffalo. And then when Billy calls to find out about it or whatever, it turns out that Scott Wood doesn't get to the club until like after 2 in the morning or something. So he has time basically. So he has time before he can have a showdown with Scott Woods at the strip club,
Yes,
and then yeah, they go to the bowling alley.
and that just seems yeah not weird, but just 'cause he goes there and I guess the guy right in the bowling alley, he kept his locker for Billy Brown, and it was like what over 5 years that he was locked up, and I guess he had like his own little league locker, and he kept paying the fee to keep it there and not lose his stuff. And when he opens the locker, um, I guess his bowling ball's there. He sees all these trophies and accolades from like I guess bowling tournaments and whatnot. So it seemed like he was very good at bowling, and in the locker is also where he had the pistol, right?
Yeah, it's just like a little tiny little mini pistol, like a little like one shot thing, like one of those ones that fits in your hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, so I guess that's what the gun he's gonna use to kill the, the the kicker, and then I guess since they're there, they're gonna go ahead and bowl, or he's gonna bowl, and I guess Christina Ricci was just gonna watch. Uh, Even being locked up for so long, he's still bowling quite a few strikes, but I'm kind of curious what that backstory because in the locker, like I said, it was like all his trophies. I forgot he had some things kind of pinned up on the wall. Oh, I guess it was the his girlfriend or the girl he was crushing on as well back in high school or something.
Yeah, so on the picture in his locker, there was a picture of what I think at the time in the movie thought was his ex girlfriend, and
Yeah,
it's basically yeah. And Christina Ricci asked him about it, and he didn't want to talk about it. But yeah, so he goes there basically to bowl a little bit before he can have the showdown with Scott Woods, and then he also, like you said, to go to his locker get his gun.
yeah,
So
but they bowl for a little bit and then until he not gets fed up because I guess she started bowling a little bit and at which point I guess she made it like a strike and he's like, all right, I'm done. Let's go.
yeah, some of I guess the most famous imagery from this movie, like if you were to Google it, would be in this scene here because that's when Christina Ricci, the ball gets stuck. His when Vincent Gallo's bowling, it gets stuck into the thing, and they have to take it out. And then like for some breakaway from reality moment, she does this little tap dance routine, and like this, like everything goes dark, and there's like a spotlight on her, and she does this little tap dance routine, which is just kind of out of the blue, which is kind of like a break from the movie. Like even the movie's weird reality, it's like even a weirder part of that reality. But it's like I said, the movie's visually like awesome. I love the way it looks. And then they take again like another like iconic thing from the movie, if it can say iconic for such a low budget cult movie. They decide to take pictures together, and like they're black and white. Like he wants to take pictures so he can send like in his head, this is Billy Brown's thinking. He's gonna kill Woods. He's gonna have these pictures, so these pictures could get sent to his parents. The parents are like, his thinking is very short sighted. Like he's gonna accomplish this mission. The parents are never gonna find out. He's gonna leave away on his CIA job or whatever for the government. And Christina Ricci is going to continue mailing letters to his parents and using some of these pictures that they decide to take in the bowling alley as pictures that they're still a couple. So that's why Christina Ricci is technically still being held captive by him, but it's not really like it's just a weird reality because like it's not like she's trying to get away or she's not even anything like, but she's going along with it. And like
Y-
on my Blu-ray edition, like it's like the black and white. It's like it looks like a photo that they took from the photo booth in the
Oh,
bowling
really?
alley, and I just thought that, yeah, I just thought that that was pretty badass.
That's awesome. And because yeah, I think you gave her very explicit instructions. Every Christmas, I want you to send a one picture from this thing to my parents, so that way, just like you get like he emphasized that kind of just like gotta keep this going, and all the while they're just trying to kill time because it's still early evening, early afternoon, so they're trying to kill time to at least 2 a.m., 2:30, so he can track down the kicker at the strip club. And
Yeah,
because after that, what they go to the diner?
yeah. They it's weird because there's a scene like where they're gonna break away, but then they don't break away, and it's like I guess she's at this point has grown like this attachment. I don't know if it's Stockholm syndrome or what at this point, but like he's going. But then when he calls the club, okay, I guess that's when he finds out that the Scott Woods is not going to be there till later after they go bowling. So he has even more time to kill, and he was about to separate from Ricci's character, but then they decide to stay together and they go to Denny's because she wants some hot chocolate. She's thirsty and she wants some hot chocolate. So they decide to go to Denny's since there's still time. They don't separate because I guess the last thing technically that she would have needed to do was take those pictures because then the mission, her part, would be done with. She would have
Yeah,
the pictures and she would have she. It's just weird. Like I said, the logic and weird reality of this movie. She agrees and she tells them, yeah, she'll send these things to the parents every year or whatever, and go along with the lie and continue with it. So then, yeah, they decide to go to Denny's though.
yes, and it's when they're and all the while she's kind of not necessarily gain affection with him, but he wants nothing to do with it. He wants nothing to do with her. Like, don't touch me, just leave me be. You keep your distance from me. And it was at Denny's where coincidentally it seems like his ex-girlfriend, the girl from the picture, I guess her and a guy walk in and just happen to sit in the booth across from them. And
Yeah, and then coincidentally, like, okay, yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and it wasn't mentioned earlier, but when he told his parents that he's bringing his wife home, her name was Layla in the movie, but he told her when you meet my parents, your name's going to be Wendy, Wendy whatever, Wendy. I don't know what the last name, but her name was going to be Wendy.
Mhm. And the Windy is actually the name of his ex-girlfriend. But then she recognizes him all the while he's like trying not to be seen by her, but she sees him, and they kind of make small talk, and it she reveals that they never talked, they never dated, and what that he was just kind of like an oddball in school then as well.
Yeah, that he used to walk down by her house often a lot. And like it's hard to do his character like the psychology of his character justice because he is very much off like you said like he didn't want Christina Ricci touching him and all this stuff, which seems kind of weird, especially this dude that just came out of jail and stuff. And like his mannerisms and his like temperament is just very like there might be something mentally off with him or just slightly just like he's got some things going on, like psychological things that are going on with him because he's like I don't know, like he's a prime incel guy. Like you figure like this character would be like an incel guy in real life or something the way he was acting. But he's just like his mannerisms are just weird and his temperament is just weird. And it's they're crazy because like reading the IMDb thing and the interviews, like he was rough. Like Christina Ricci, like he didn't get along with Christina Ricci. You can look that up. Like he calls her names in the press, and he didn't get along with a lot of the actors. And then supposedly, according to IMDb, he paid Mickey Rourke for his like 5 minute role like $100,000, and he gave him the money in like a brown paper bag. And it's just like this was real low budget, but like and like he's just all around like an angry guy. And then he had his issues with Roger Ebert later on, and like he's just like I don't know, maybe he's a cool guy, but like I mean he's an artist for sure. Like he's very artistic, but like I don't know how much of that is like his real, like how much of his real thing is in that character. But like it was weird. Like if you read more about it, supposedly Christina Ricci was 17 years old when she did this movie,
Goddamn.
and he didn't want her mother to come along. Like I was just reading like a Huffington Post thing before we did this. He didn't want her mother to come along to be a part of the movie, and it was like the first time she was away from her mother, and everything just seemed weird. And he was rough and stuff, and just kind of like angry a lot.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know if it was just him being uh, being a method actor. That's his persona or what, or that's how he is in real life.
Hmm.
But he seems like an intense dude.
Yeah. That definitely showed in the movie throughout, and there wasn't really any times where he was very calm. He was just very rough around the edges. Um, but yeah, running into the girl from school, it sets him off edge even more, where he basically that's where he finally kind of like storms out, and he kind of just leaves Christina Ricci there, right? That's when
Yeah, he goes off.
because he leaves
Or
her
what?
behind, right?
Yeah, he does. He leaves the Denny's. He doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And she decides she's just gonna stay there and wait for her hot chocolate.
Yeah, all she wants is this hot chocolate. And I think I was
Yeah,
getting there, and it's like, we're leaving. And it's like, but my hot chocolate.
yeah. And then she's gonna wait there, and he decides to go. He has to take. He just leaves her, and then he runs across to some gas station or something to take a piss again. And then the bathroom wasn't working, and they told him to use the one at Denny's where he was just at. So he goes back there, and he decides to try to make amends with Christina Ricci. And he
Yeah.
tells her something about let's just leave. She hasn't got her hot chocolate yet. He says let's just leave, and we can go get a room somewhere. And we can just lay down together or something like that. Something real childish, like weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually that's what happens next. They leave the Denny's without the hot chocolate,
And
and they rent a hotel.
so yes, they get a room because obviously it's still kind of early-ish. They're making amends, and it's funny because while I think they're going to the hotel, um, the way he kind of told her like, oh, we'll go to bed together or something like that. And so it, I'm not sure if it was en route there or when they're at the hotel, where Christina Ricci was under the impression that they were gonna actually like um, have sex or at least to bed together, and he's
Yeah,
like, no, we're not gonna do that. It's like, and she's like, well, I was kind of hoping we were. I thought that's what we were gonna do. So it's just like, um, even though being kidnapped by him by against her will, I guess, but going along with it all this time, and then she's like, yeah, let's do it, and he's just like, no, I just
yeah,
said that to get you going.
yeah. Kind of in a way too reminds me of like Tom Hanks's character in Big, like when the older woman starts flirting with him, but he has that mentality of a kid, and he's like, "No, let's just play video games, or this is kind of
Just hang out.
this whatever the hell."
Yeah,
Yeah,
and because yeah, he to kind of get away from her, get space from her, that he says he's just gonna take a bath or take a shower, just to kind of um, they're finding it alone in a private place, and it's a small hotel motel room, and not that she's all over him, but it feels like the safe place would be the bathroom, in the shower, the tub, to stay away from her. But she manages to talk herself to get into the bathroom, and let alone in the tub with him. And granted, they're on opposite sides of the tub, but um, she still just want to be close to him.
Yeah, it's like the most, I guess, if you're gonna be sympathetic towards the main character Billy Brown, this is the most sympathetic part. That because then, like he just wants to take a bath before he goes out and meets up with Woods. He just says something along the lines of like he's happy that the tub had hot water because when he was little, his dad would not let him take hot showers or they wouldn't be able to take hot baths. They would only be able to fill the water a little bit. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fill it all the way to the top." And yeah, like he didn't want Christina Ricci to go in. Like it's just some weird thing. He didn't want Christina Ricci to go into the restroom, and Christina Ricci's like the opposite. She doesn't want to be left alone outside in the bedroom. And he's like, "But I'm gonna be naked. I'm gonna be taking a bath, like whatever. Like you can't be in here." And then he says, "If you come in here, you can't look at me. Don't look at me or whatever." It's just kind of like an interesting thing. Like this whole scene in the hotel, like I guess it builds a little bit of sympathy towards this not so sympathetic character. I mean, he's weird and quirky, and I mean, he comes becomes likable. I guess. I mean, if you don't like, if you're a viewer and you're not at all like this character, I'm not going to argue against that. Like, oh, what's wrong with you? This character is completely likable. But like, if you were on the fence, this would probably be the part to where you start kind of being a little bit sympathetic and kind of liking the character some, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a good little scene because I mean he's like I said, they're on opposite ends. They're not even really touching each other. They're both kind of just have their knees tucked to their chest. They're just kind of just there, just kind of relaxing, and um eventually just goes to where they're out of the tub, and they're just kind of drying off, and they are actually kind of laying in bed together, but it's not it's in a non-sexual way. They're both fully clothed. They're a good distance apart until the only contact they have is what they barely hold hands.
Well, like before that even happens, like it's the only part where the Billy Brown lets down his guard. Like after they get out of the shower, she asks him about the girlfriend, the Wendy, the ex girlfriend or whatever,
Mm,
and it just turns out it was a girl he had a crush on since the third grade or whatever, and they never dated or anything. And then she even asked him if he's ever had any girlfriends, and he said no. And he's just real like vulnerable. I guess the most vulnerable this angry man's been in this whole movie. It's like at that moment,
mm,
and like she asked him all that, and then he tells her the truth, and he's not angry at this moment. And that's when they decide to lay together. And like you said, like he's real timid, and he stretches out his hands, and they start holding hands in bed. Like you said, nothing sexual, but just holding hands, basically.
yeah, and, with her asking, it's not like her nagging or like really insisting. It's just a very casual, just like um, matter of fact kind of questioning, I guess. But
Well, like she cares about him.
yeah, and they're they're just kind of laying there, and I guess I don't know if he passed out, but he wakes up and he realizes it's after 2 a.m. and they get a hotel room, I guess what, right across the street from the strip club.
Yeah.
So from a phone call he had earlier, that's when they said that the Woods would be there. So he's getting up, he's getting ready, and um, all throughout this entire time, he's never told Christina Ricci his plan, what he's gonna do, right? You kind of get
No, but she suspects something bad's gonna happen. Yeah.
so again. It's 2 a.m. He's getting up. She's like asking him just like, where are you going? And he said, I just need to stretch my legs. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee. And she's like, well, can you get me a hot chocolate? Or he asks her, and she asks for hot chocolate. And she's in a very current way, it's kind of asks like, you're coming back, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm coming back. And she's like, don't lie to me if you're. And again, it's not in a mean, accusing way. She's like, yeah, in a very caring way. She's like, well, if you're not coming back, don't lie to me. And um, and he
Yeah, it's like
says, I'm coming back. I believe, right?
yeah. It's one of those like in like every once in a while in those movies, it's like those oh fuck moments where it's like, is he really lying or is he really telling the truth? Like is he really like does he really mean what he's saying or is he not? Like where she senses that too and she's like, well, you're gonna come back and he's like, yeah. But
Hmm.
you're not sure, okay, is this shit gonna go down or is it not gonna go down or is he gonna like go through with it or not? Like after all that's like after they've played together and they even kissed a couple of times and stuff, but it's like, oh, dude, don't fucking go. And it's like she's kind of like the audience, like she's like, just come back, and he's like, yeah, I'll just be gone in a little bit, a couple of minutes, I'll be gone. But like, yeah, as the audience, you're like rooting for the guy, like, dude, don't fucking go.
Yeah. And so he steps out, goes across the street, and this again is what the early 90s. So outside the strip club, there's a payphone. That's what he's been using throughout the movie. And he calls his friend Goon again, and he's kind of apologizing to him because he was an ass to him earlier. He's kind of getting rude, very blunt with his friend Goon, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for how I treated you earlier, and you've been a good friend, my best friend." Um, he's telling his friend Goon like, there's my bowling locker at the alley. It's like you can have my bowling ball, you can have everything that's in the locker. It's all yours, and which is again, yeah, the Goon guy seems like he's not maybe not all there in the head, but then he's able to comprehend enough that like, what are you gonna do? Like, you better not be doing anything wrong
Yeah,
or
because he told him what he was gonna do. He's gonna kill Woods, and then he gives him the combination, and Goon's putting two and two together. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And he's trying to reassure Goon like, no, I'm not gonna do anything. And it's just like a just in case kind of thing, but it's very obvious, and he eventually just kind of hangs up on him once he gets the point across, and which leads him to go into the strip club, and he's looking for the Woods, and eventually he sees him at a table, and he's there with just a couple of strippers, and he he has a bottle of alcohol. He has a shot glass for himself, and then that's when he sees um whatchamacallit, Billy Brown walk up.
Billy.
Yeah, walks up to him, and um Woods is just kind of staring at him, and he what offers him a shot of whatever alcohol he's drinking. Just kind of either raises it to him
Yeah,
or puts it on the table and just kind of pushes it towards him, and um that's where it shows where Billy pulls out the his little revolver, his little pistol, and he just shoots Woods in the face.
yeah, in the head. I think right between the eyes, maybe.
Yeah, he just shoots him dead and right in the head, and it's just like it's kind of artistic, not necessarily gory,
Yeah,
but
like
just the gunshot and just like the way the blood splatters.
yeah, I was very impressed with that too because for there no computer effects and being real low budget, the way they did that blood effect on his Woods, like the still thing with the blood in the back of his head,
Hmm.
looked pretty badass. Like that whole scene was badass. Like it's there's no audible dialogue. Like the music is real badass that's been playing in the strip club, and it's just like the dancers, the lights, and like his mouth. You can read his lips to the bartender. He's like saying Scott Woods, like, and then the bartender points to where he's at, and it's just like the music's going on, the lights are going on, the strippers are dancing, and like he's doing his like his walk to do the mission to complete the mission or whatever, and it's just like real. That's badass the way it is going to the music. The music goes real well with it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just crazy. He blows his brains out, and it's like a brief delay, and then it pans to Billy, which he turns the gun to his own head, and he shoots himself. And again, it's kind of a artistic way where they show the blood splatter for himself, and then he falls, obviously dead. And um, that's where the scene changes, and what he's he's in the
The
strip.
cemetery.
Oh, that's right. I'm so man. It, it's always thinking where or it's at the cemetery, and it's at his grave site, and both his parents are there, and they're both just sitting on lawn chairs, I guess, just there. You would assume they're mourning his death, but the mom she's watching the Buffalo Bills game on like a small little handheld TV, and she's all into it. And I don't remember what the dad's doing. Was he like reading a newspaper or something?
Yeah, he's just sitting there with the mom and like just kind of being annoyed
Yeah, he's just like, art.
that they have to be visiting the grave.
Yeah, I think as he tells her, it's like it's 2 o'clock or something. And it's like, "Oh, I'm hungry," and that's what they're pretty much kind of getting up to go. But yeah, it's just like it seemed like it was just a obligation to visit the grave site. But um, and that's when
Yeah, and at the moment you're like, fuck.
I know it's like, oh man, really? But that's when it changes again, and it turns out Billy is still alive. He's in the strip club. He's still in front of Woods, and he hasn't taken out the gun yet, but he's just kind of standing there in front of him, and I guess, he's contemplating. But he he doesn't take out the gun. He just abruptly just leaves the strip club, and he gets back on the phone, and he calls his friend Goon again. And in a very quick way, he rushes telling him it's like, forget everything I just told you. Like, you can't have any of the stuff in the locker. It's mine. It's You can't have it. If you touch it, I'll kill you, or something dumb like that. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'll give you a karate chop to the head.
yeah. Uh, and while he's saying this, he sounds happy, and it's like it's a whole different tone, whole other side of him. And that's when he starts telling him, I have a girlfriend, and we're happy,
Yeah,
and we're gonna do things and this and that, and he definitely, there's life in him.
yeah, it's like almost like a giddy, yeah, like a little kid, like almost being happy.
Yeah, just the way he made that very non-threatening threat to his friend about, like, you can't have my stuff, it's my stuff, and I have a girlfriend, I'm gonna buy her flowers, and I'm gonna do this and that, and
Yeah,
um so he's definitely turned around, and he hangs up, he goes to this little like donut shop that's attached to the hotel, and he goes in there and he's buying the coffee. And again, he's a new man. He's talking. There's a new, was an extra hop in his step, and his
yeah,
tones change, and he's like, "Oh, do you guys hot chocolate? I want hot chocolate, and I want the coffee." And like he starts looking at the pastries, and he sees some like heart cookies or something like that, and he is getting a few for Christina Ricci, and there's like a random guy there by himself, just,
yeah,
and it's like, hey, do you have a girlfriend? I was like, yeah. It's like, get him a cookie, get him a heart cookie. And
yeah,
um, so yeah, he's just, he's very happy, and at this point, you're really rooting for him, and um, he gives, I forgot why, but I think he even gives like the clerk a tip, and then he gives a cookie to her, like, oh, don't forget your cookies, like, make sure you get the cookie for
yeah,
your girlfriend. And he goes back to the hotel room, right? Or is that
yeah. That's about it. I don't think we see Richie again.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the movie. Um, but yeah, just he didn't follow through with his initial plan, and he seems a whole lot happier that he didn't obviously be dead otherwise, but um, he's it was a good turnaround for him.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd seen the movie again, and then I revisited it after the recent Bills loss. And like in my head, I was wanting to see like what was the changing point at that very end, because obviously he went to there, he had the gun with him, and like I don't know, it might be reaching, but when he steps up to Woods, and like in the fantasy he pulls out the gun, but before that happens in the movie, he turns around and looks at one of the strippers, or at least this is in my head what's going on in his head, and he sees it because it make like they it's some weird shot where he just looks back at, and then he sees one of the strippers, and it doesn't zoom in or nothing, but it looks like the stripper is kind of wearing similar eyeshadow to the eyeshadow that Christina Ricci was wearing.
Mm,
And in my head, maybe that was like the triggering point to him to like, dude, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and in the movie, he like it has that fantasy that he kills him, but he doesn't do it in reality. But in my head, that's the part that broke him from that, and then he it caused him to see that other fantasy of his parents kind of just being there, like like nothing really coming from it. Like they're still gonna be the way they are, and they're gonna be it'll be for nothing. Like they'll be visiting his grave, still unhappy, and it wouldn't have really done much of anything. But I
yeah.
think seeing that stripper's eyeshadows kind of changed his thing at the last second. I don't know. Maybe you can check that out later if you revisit it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have to look into that cause yeah, she was what all in blue, like bluish green throughout the entire movie.
Yeah,
She
like
just wore the one dress.
yeah, because it all takes place in one day. Yeah, and she was like wearing, I guess, like her tap dancing outfit or whatever, ballet outfit or whatever.
Yeah, and yeah, I think same thing when he's kind of had that scenario play out in his head where um yeah nothing would change and his family is still his parents were just gonna go and or at his gravesite and they're just gonna be the same just um the yeah the checked out dad and the mom just still obsessed with the Buffalo Bills playing and just like that's her number one priority in the world. But
Yeah,
it was yeah definitely an interesting movie. It was like almost 2 hours long.
yeah, about that, about 2 hours. And I fucking always loved this movie. And then, like I said, recently seeing it, it just like I loved it even more. It's definitely a weird indie movie. It's like the epitome of indie. But like on one of my recent views, I discovered something with the movie, or I kind of have a new look on the movie, that like a different interpretation or analysis that, or might help make sense of the movie a little bit better. Like
What you
I
got?
don't know. Well, I'm like kind of going to go back to the beginning and
Mm.
like kind of run through this. What color is piss?
Yellow.
Yellow. So for this little theory of mine, or for this little analysis illusion, I guess, alluding to, you got to kind of go somewhere over the rainbow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What color are his shoes in the movie?
They were red.
And piss is yellow.
Yes.
And the movie starts off taking him on the yellow brick road. He's like, it's, I'm not saying it's like it's alluding in my head, it's alluding to The Wizard of Oz. There's a lot of allusions to it. He also has a dog. When he was a kid, he has a dog Bingo or something, which would be kind of like Toto.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not completely got it. Like, I don't think all the characters are characters, or like maybe he's a version of all the characters. But Yeah, I think this the like, and I think Buffalo is going to be Oz instead of the wizard. Like instead of Oz being Oz, it's like taking you through this weird world of Buffalo being Oz,
Mm,
and this is his journey through the Wizard of Oz or through Oz, but it's Buffalo. He's kind of all the characters. He's Dorothy with the red shoes coming back home or going through this trip through Oz. And yeah, he has his red shoes throughout the whole movie.
yeah.
And I think Christina Ricci's character would be the Good Witch. I don't think, I think her name was Glenda, but I think she wore a similar color outfit. I think it was like
Yeah,
a bluish color.
yeah, it was like a light blue.
So I'm assuming Christina Ricci is the Good Witch, which in my head, like it kind of like, I don't know if her whole part in it, like if maybe her character, and this is reaching, while reaching even more, reaching is like maybe her character knew that this had to happen, or the character was kind of trying to help him along through this thing. But she, to me, represents the Good Witch.
Mm,
And it's just interesting too. Like it just kind of occurred to me, like one of the last times I watched it, because basically, like I said, it's his trip through Oz. And when he goes through to Denny's, she orders hot chocolate, but she never gets it. And he orders a glass of water. And who do they meet in there? His ex girlfriend, right? Or not ex girlfriend, his pretend ex girlfriend, or his love interest, or his
yeah.
girl that broke his heart. And an interesting piece of dialogue when he comes back to Christina Ricci after he left her and came back and told her, let's leave. He tells her, like, let's leave. And she doesn't want to go. She still hasn't got her chocolate. He goes, let's leave. I don't want to be around that witch. So the ex girlfriend would be the wicked witch or the evil witch.
Hmm.
So that's what my thinking. She's the evil witch or whatever.
Yeah.
And what kills the witch is water.
Mm,
He ordered water. And shortly after that, he goes to the hotel and they, I don't know if this is reaching too, but then they get into the bath and like there's more water and maybe there's that part of him, I don't know, like that cleansed him or whatever, melted that part, but of the wicked witch that was with still in him, because he does seem more vulnerable after that.
yeah.
And do you remember the name of Scott Wood's strip club?
I do not.
It was called the Gold Room. So more, and even before the Denny's thing too, like he had to take a piss again, and that's why it's weird. It's like in a weird way, like his penis led him along this little thing because he left Christina Ricci and then he couldn't use the restroom, and the guy told him to go back to Denny's to use the restroom, and it kind of took him back to Christina Ricci. But and then ultimately he's trying to get to Scott Woods, who's in the Gold Room, more of the Golden Path, the Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah.
So Scott Woods' strip club is called the Gold Room. And as he enters the Gold Room, he moves back the gold curtains to come across and meet Oz, who's played by Scott Woods. Scott Woods is Oz in this movie. And in the Wizard of Oz, I mean, I didn't revisit the Wizard of Oz. I didn't rewatch the Wizard of Oz. I didn't have the, like. I wish I would have had more time to do that. But Scott Woods is Oz, and like in my memory from the Wizard of Oz, like the pay no attention to the man behind the curtains.
Yeah.
It turns out that like Oz or the Wizard of Oz wasn't who he said he was. Like he thought Woods was this evil conspiring guy that fucked up his life, but he's just some fat dude that likes to be around strippers. He's just some dude,
Yeah.
and he's fucking Oz, and it's fucking brilliant though. Like, and like in the Wizard of Oz, he didn't really grant any of the characters anything. Like the adventure, the journey showed that they had all those things that they were seeking. Like the cowardly lion wanted courage. Vincent Gallo at times was very like weak and like scared in this movie, and it granted the scarecrow the brain, and like obviously he did a lot of stupid things, and he had a lot of stupid ways of thinking in this movie. And then the final one, the main one, the Tin Man wanted the heart, and basically, Vincent Gallo's character was a lot like the Tin Man too. Even had, I think, the Tin Man had a little gun in the movie. Um, he wanted the heart, and it's all things that he had that the Oz didn't technically grant him, but going through the adventure through Oz showed that these characters had those things.
Yeah.
And Vincent Gallo, it gave him his kindness, his heart, his courage, the knowledge, and like it, brilliant. Like, and what is like he mentioned that when he goes to the store, what does he buy? What kind of cookie does he buy?
The heart cookie.
So that's like him getting his fucking heart. Like he's got his heart. He's not the Tin Man anymore. He's not the Scarecrow anymore. He's not the fucking cowardly lion. He has love in his life now. And there's no place like home. There's no place like fucking Buffalo. Like this tragedy became would lead him to hopefully the love of his life, turning his thing around. This negative thing turned it around for him. Like so, he's in a way thankful for Woods for giving him this guy that he wanted to kill at the beginning of the movie for all his problems, indirectly led him to the best thing in his life, I guess, at that point. Or
Yeah.
so there's probably more, or maybe I'm reaching, but like man, to me that helps make some of this weirdness make sense. It's like some new, like some weird version of the Wizard of Oz, or like it alludes to it, and it's like all these like because yeah, like the reality of this movie is very weird at points, but hopefully if you view it like that, like it might help make it seem a little bit more like you don't have to suspend your disbelief too much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's pretty crazy. I never thought of that theory. Cause yeah, cause I remember watching
Yeah,
too, with, like seeing his shoes. Like yeah, they were like very bright red. They stood out quite a bit.
yeah, it's nothing like it's what's to me like whether it's true or not, like it's neat if it is because it's not like he's trying to hit you over the head with it. It's just these little nods to the movie.
Yeah.
Because I always thought that was weird that Richie was yeah like almost like she's wearing like a superhero costume, like how superheroes or wrestlers wear the same outfit throughout the whole thing. Like they like yeah like she didn't like obviously it's in one day, but like yeah the outfit never really changed, and it almost looked. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like the witch. And then kind of started pieces started falling together. And then like when he saw the ex girlfriend, he says, I don't want to be around that witch anymore. And it's like, oh shit, the red shoes, the blue dress, the witch. And
Yeah.
there's probably more stuff, but like I said, I'd have to see the Wizard of Oz again.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I would never have thought of that of this that theory or that concept. Cause like you said, I don't know if it's yeah like, super reaching or not, but it's I can see those tie-ins that you mentioned. Especially yeah, like
Yeah,
when he goes into the strip club, because yeah, it was like yeah, like these golden streamers or whatever right, when you walk through the door, and like you said, it's kind of going
yeah.
through the lifting the curtain. Oh, that's
But
pretty
yeah, I
cool.
don't know. It just makes the movie a little bit more, whether it's true or not. But
Yeah, I don't know, I dig it. It
yeah,
it's yeah, I kind of want to rewatch Wizard of Oz, and it's trying to see like maybe I don't know what the other characters like the goon or the what
yeah. That's what I was wondering. Like if maybe Goon could have been like the cowardly lion, or the like, not to be weird, or the I would need a brain, like the Scarecrow. And then I know like how the dad, like one of the neighbors in the Wizard of Oz, wanted to kill the dog too.
mhm.
Like I don't think it's meant to be like a shot for shot or like
Yeah,
exactly the same, but yeah, like makes allusions to the like where references to. And then like the shoes Richie wears too, I think are like I don't know if they're the same. Like I know, I think in the book, I've never read the book, but I think in the book the shoes are different colors. They're not the red shoes. But I don't know. But like, there's probably a lot more. But at least it's something to start with.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty cool concept. I'm just trying to look real quick at some of these images because yeah, it looks like when she's doing that dance montage that you're talking about at the bowling alley, she has like looks like they're white, the very sparkly tap dance shoes, but um I don't know. That's very interesting. But
Yeah, but I do think she's a good witch.
yes, because I forgot what the yeah the Wizard was at the end with the Good Witch is talking to Dorothy and yeah, it's something I never would have thought of or thought about in regards to like you said, whether it's true or not, just like those little nods. But that's a pretty cool concept. Um, but yeah, so with the Buffalo 66 though, it's a movie that you definitely dig.
Yeah, I recommend it greatly. I mean, it's a certain type of person's movie. Like if you don't like weird indie movies, you won't like it. It's not very much a football movie. It's not very much a romance movie, but it's kind of both anyway.
Yes, and
And
especially like yeah, the main character, he's throughout like 90% of the movie, he's not really likable, especially yeah, with
yeah,
some things he says, some things he does, and the way he treats Christina Ricci, and it's just like
yeah. So like I can understand somebody not being into it, but yeah, but it's a character, it's a person. I don't know. It's a movie. It's not real.
yeah, it's-
But yeah, I like the look of it, and it's like you can't really create those movies anymore, like those '90s indie movies.
yeah,
So this is a good one, and I think it's fitting for Valentine's Day and Super Bowl Sunday.
yeah. It's a good tie-in for both, especially just both being a day apart, so it's very fitting. And from looking at this box office wise, supposedly the estimated budget for the movie is 1.5 million, and looks like the opening weekend it grossed just under $40,000.
Yeah,
So I guess eventually worldwide it grossed 2.3 million, so it did make up for it eventually, but yeah, not so well that first opening weekend.
yeah, it's a cult movie though. It's definitely a cult movie, and not just for like Buffalo people, but it's very much a good indie movie.
Yes. Do you have any other thoughts or suggestions, recommendations of the movie, or any final say?
No, I think I would say he earned like I always like in at the end of a movie, whether the main character earned or got deserved what they got. I feel like he went through enough, and he deserved getting love and Christina Ricci at the end. So I think he did well with that. Like I feel like he earned it. It wasn't like a cop out ending. And I
I
don't know, a similar companion movie I would say would be Punch Drunk Love. That's kind of a weird quirky but really romantic movie.
mhm.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, it's like I would have to agree with you with him with the ending for the main actor. I would say even for Christina Ricci, because for her literally getting dragged into this the situation um and that seems like she genuinely fell for him and his well-being despite her situation and um I think it worked out for her as well.
Yeah, I'll say hopefully by the 25th anniversary, should be like a year or two. Buffalo Bills will have won the Super Bowl by then.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully before then, but yes.
Yeah,
Um, Who do you think is gonna win the Super Bowl, or who are you rooting for?
Uh, I'm rooting for the Bengals, but I think the Rams are gonna win. I don't
There's
know if you have any plan.
um, I was maybe just rooting for the Rams, kind of hoping maybe just like for Matthew Stafford, maybe to see if he can pull it off.
Okay.
There's like the whole thing with the sorry for the brief segue, but supposedly I guess that was like in The Simpsons where Homer was betting, Homer and Lisa were betting, and there was a Super Bowl or one football game where the the commentator was saying that the Rams and the Bengals were gonna play, and Homer lost a bet on that one. But yeah, so another one of those whole weird Simpsons did it type things,
Oh man,
or
I didn't know
predicted
about
it.
that.
Yeah.
They did one on the Buffalo Bills though too. With if my daughter wins, Buffalo doesn't love me or she doesn't love me or yeah. I was like, man, so what do you have on this? What are you betting this game? My daughter.
Yeah. Cover the Simpsons another day and what they
Yeah,
predicted and all that good stuff. At least the classic era of the Simpsons. But yes, uh, this was this was fun. This was a deep dive slash movie discussion of Buffalo 66. I enjoyed it too. Like yeah, it's very indie. It's very I'd say a timed movie or a dated movie. Just like you said, mid early 90s, especially with the artistically the
aesthetic.
yeah
Yeah,
that and just some of the language and whatnot that definitely won't fly nowadays. But um, it was good. I probably wouldn't mind watching it again. Just definitely just try and see anything maybe kind of missed or just a revisit for certain things and whatnot. But
yeah.
I think that's gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Gets both our votes to definitely check it out if you can. Let us know what you think of this discussion of Buffalo 66. But I am obviously 2003 here, joined with Augie the Froggy.
Hey,
Yes. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Stay safe, and don't forget to settle down.